but it makes sense.
Well, we were allowed to stand there for about 10 or 15 minutes,
and they seem to
and then they forced everyone out. This was like 3 or 4 reps who showed up. I think it was a lot of
and then they get pissed off.
So, and they sort of forced us to, they weren't very nice. You must leave now! Oh, you're right! You know, and they were screaming at us or whatever. It was not very nice. And then they escorted us out to the building.
So, the news I heard.
Why did they get a voice?
About money for government. So we will devote ourselves to making that not happen.
Right.
But you know, it's we're kind of a clearing process. I mean, the thing is, he's not going to change. We know that. We got to get it. We want to.
Putin is president! Putin is president! You got it.
Go back to the message right now. Take back your power! Take back your power! Hold your power! Be powerful! Let's stand together! Because we can't do this alone. It's not about me. It's about the world. It's not about you. It's about the world. Humanity first! Humanity first! Humanity first! Humanity first! Humanity first! Humanity first! And let me tell you something, my voice about to be gone and whatnot, but I'm out here screaming, lifting my voice for y'all. Lift yours too! That's right. One more time. What do we want?
Trump heads out now!
What do we want about? Now! What do we want?
Trump heads out now!
What do we want about?
Now!
And we're going to get him out. But we cannot wait until November.
No!
Let me tell you, the history took it. Let me tell y'all something, because the history books and schools have lied to you. Point blank pen, it is the power of the people that will get
I'm gonna lose my
That's
voice.
an incredible point. Thank you so much, Les.
Come together. I'm not gonna cry.
We are not going to let Donald
I'm gonna be
Trump
strong for
mess
America.
around with the lives of everyone on this planet. We are not going to let this regime play God and destroy this planet and everyone on it. All right, let's go from the top. Trump heads out now!
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 Mic check.
Mic check!
Mic check.
Mic check!
Mic check means.
Mic check!
Hold up. Mic check means repeat my words so that everybody around can hear them. So the whole thing I say, everybody repeats it so that everybody beyond the bullhorn noise can hear the words. You got me?
Got you.
Okay. Mic check.
Mic check!
Mic check.
Mic check!
We are here.
We are here
To reject.
to reject
And repudiate.
and repudiate
The not guilty vote.
the not guilty vote.
We are here.
We are here
To say.
in
In the name of humanity.
the name of humanity,
Donald Trump is guilty.
Donald Trump is guilty,
Not just guilty of abuse of power.
guilty of abuse of power,
Not just guilty of obstruction of Congress.
guilty of obstruction of Congress.
He is guilty of those crimes.
He is guilty of those crimes,
But he is also guilty
but he's also guilty
of bringing fascism
of bringing fascism
to America.
to America.
Donald Trump is guilty
Donald Trump is guilty
of separating children from their parents at the border,
of separating children from their parents at the border,
of unleashing white supremacy,
of unleashing white supremacy,
of attacking the rights of women.
of attacking the rights of women.
Donald Trump is guilty
Donald Trump is guilty
of shredding and The Senate has shown us that they will not stop him. Today, the Senate has shown us that Donald Trump, in their view, is above the law. No one is going to stop this. Unless we stop it. We the people. The millions of people. In this country. Who refuse to accept. A fascist America. But let's be honest. Far too few people are out here today. Way too many people are sitting at home. Are waiting it out. Because it has not hit them yet. We have to wake them up. We have to struggle with them. This is a moment where the future is being determined. And to sit back, to go along, is to collaborate with fascism. I am calling on all of you to join the Refuse Fascism movement. To get organized today. For the struggle we have to wage. In the months ahead. It is up to us. To stop a fascist America. And let's be honest. You cannot
These are the
rely
trolls.
on the elections.
No.
I don't think so. Don't talk to the shit that's on the
Okay, so
Through non-violent, massive, sustained protest, like we've seen in Chile, like we saw in Puerto Rico, like we see in Hong Kong. This we must do. In the name of humanity. In the name of humanity. We refuse to accept a fascist America. Trump pens out now. 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 Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. Mic check. We're gonna share the mic. With other people. Saying why you are here.
means that you.
All right, we're good. Are you ready, brother? Hey, Charlie. You want to speak?
I know they just keep checking the mic every time.
All right, show some love for Sydney. You guys gather around. Let's give our ears to Sydney here.
Hey, so
Hold it really close, like it's almost touching.
the reason I'm out here is because it doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat or you support Trump or you don't. What's happened today sets a precedent for all future presidents. It doesn't matter if they're a Democrat or Republican. This kind of behavior is not constitutional, and this kind of thing sets a precedent that allows it. So if you are listening to this and you do not agree with removing Trump, recognize that this kind of behavior is now allowed for any president under this precedent. It's a little bit of a problem. Even if you like Trump, even if you like everything he's done, there will be future presidents who are not Trump. Just something to think about.
I need the young people to step to the mic right now.
Actually, y'all, we're going to march over and join with the other event happening. Let's march over together, all right? Trumpets out now! 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 Trumpets out.
Hey guys, if you're listening right now, if you're watching, this is Matt Purdy here on camera. We are currently following a group of protesters protesting the recent acquittal vote in the Senate, and Trump, of course. There are two separate protests, and now the two protests are going to fuse together. So stand by. Lots of fun stuff here.
Her shirt says RIP USA.
Across 46 states, we are saying with one voice, we reject the cover-up. We reject the cover-up! 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 We absolutely cannot let this, after this sham trial, discourage us. Tonight, we're going to hear from speakers who will tell us how we're going to fight back together and save our democracy. I would like you all to join me in welcoming Senator Jeff Merkley from Oregon. He has been, we all know, he has been one of the most outspoken defenders of our Constitution. He has worked tirelessly to strengthen our democracy and has championed many reform bills. He has been walking the streets. I had the opportunity to walk the streets with him many years ago when we were crossing the country from Selma. Please join me in welcoming one of our biggest supporters in the Senate, Senator Merkley.
Was it a trial or a cover-up? No witnesses, it's a cover-up. No evidence, it's a cover-up. No documents, it's a cover-up. A trial or a cover-up? A cover-up. Never before has this happened in the history of the United States of America. Never before. Never before have you had the jury foreman, that is the majority leader, say, I'm going to work hand in glove with the defendant and work for their exoneration. Disgusting! Is that a trial or a cover-up? Never before, no witnesses, no documents, no process, not even a conversation among the senators as a jury about the weight of the conversation or the presentations. You know, I was really struck because the case is so clear. Here you have the president's personal lawyer going to the Ukraine to arrange a smear campaign on Joe Biden. And then the ambassador gets in the way, so the president recalls the ambassador. Get rid of her. And then the new president gets elected in Ukraine and he doesn't want to go along, so you have to create a pressure campaign, and that means Oval Office and holding up security assistance. This is an international corrupt criminal enterprise, and the president should be held accountable. So, guilty, guilty, guilty. of my colleagues in the Senate, some of my colleagues said, you know, okay, yeah, he did it, but it was just inappropriate. Kind of like boys will be boys, right? Well, you know, there are a lot of things this president does that are inappropriate, like 16,000 lies to the public. That's inappropriate. Like not putting your holdings into a blind trust to eliminate conflict of interest. That's inappropriate. But that word inappropriate is meaningless in this context. We're talking about something much worse than Watergate. Watergate was spying on the DNC. Okay, that's serious. This is international. This is soliciting a foreign leader. This is pressuring that foreign leader with security assistance. This is smearing an opponent. If you believe that Nixon was appropriately driven from office for his crime, you have to vote to convict. Where do we go now? Here's where we go. We go to the streets and we turn him out of office in November of this year. That's where we go. We have to channel our frustration. We have to channel our rage. We have to channel our discouragement and even channel the darkness we feel on this tragic day. And we have to go and put this nation back on track. And that means not just a blue Oval Office. That means a blue Senate that will put... And when we get that blue Senate, we need, by simple majority, to pass H.R. 1 for the People Act. We've got to take on the corruption from our Supreme Court. They threw up their hands on gerrymandering and allow it. They proceeded to pass Citizens United. They become a super legislature and said that dark money is okay polluting our campaign system. Is it okay? No! And then they gutted the Voting Rights Act. In addition, how about we elect a Senate that will have confirmed Supreme Court justices who believe in the we the people vision of the Constitution of the United States of America? Okay, get ready. Wake up tomorrow. Let's go to work. God bless you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Senator. Now I would like to invite up to join me Karen Hobart-Flynn, the president of Common Cause.
Hey everyone, my name is Karen Hobart-Flynn, and I'm with Common Cause, and I'm mad as hell. How about you? You should know that we're not alone. There are thousands and thousands of people gathering in cities across this country, rallying to reject the cover-up. That's exactly right. That's right. I am outraged by Senate Republicans who put party over country. Let's be clear. What they put on was a sham trial, a show trial. It's a trial that was supposed to convince the American public that they were going to do something, that it was going to be fair. But did we have witnesses? No! Did we see new evidence that had been uncovered? No! That's exactly right. It's a cover-up. Why did they not want the American people to see this information? Because they know it would show Trump is guilty. That's right. Guilty. Trump is 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 guilty. The fact is, justice. And what we need to do, turn this around, is to choose justice, not Trump.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
If you think about it, think about every one of those senators that went before the Chief Justice and swore an oath to uphold our Constitution. And then what did they do? They ignored the evidence. And while the trial was happening, Trump was literally providing funds to Republican senators who agreed with him. What is that called? Not just bribery, it's rigging the jury. That is jury tampering. That's right. Who remembers Republican Senator McSally when she attacked a CNN reporter for asking a question and she called him a liberal hack? What did she do? She posted that video and Trump sent money to her campaign. Again, jury tampering. That's right.
Shame! 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 Shame!
Betrayed their trust to their constituents as well as their oath to the Constitution to hold the president accountable.
They condone the violence he incites.
That's right. So here's what we have to do. We need to remember when it comes to November that we want justice, not Trump. We are not going to take this lying down. We are not going to ignore this. That's right. It's too late. But we need to think about what's at stake here. This is a president that has been inviting foreign interference in our elections. Back before he was elected with the Russians in 2016, he has been inviting foreign interference. And what do we expect in 2020? Record turnout, and he's going to be inviting foreign interference. Two things we need to think about. One is the House is going to hold investigations. They are going to continue that. And we need to support that and educate people about that and hold him accountable. Second, it is really important that we think about this election. Record turnout. We're expecting record turnout.
Gotta have it.
We have heard from intelligence agencies that there are nation states that are hostile to the U.S. that plan on interfering and actually are working to interfere in our elections in 2020.
Only Putin wins.
We know that Trump is not going to do anything to stop it. In fact, he will probably invite it. So, it is up to every one of us to do what we need to do. So, there is an election protection coalition that we're part of with hundreds of other organizations. And what we need you to do is volunteer to help protect the vote. Two things. Go to protectthevote.net and sign up to help. Protectthevote.net. And show up to help protect the vote. And then we need to tell elected representatives that we, the people, have the power. We, the people, have the power, not them. They are there to do what we want them to do. And if they don't, we need to vote them out. So you need to register. Turn out people to vote. Vote him out. Vote him out. Vote him out. vote, and you need to help protect the vote. We will not be defeated. We reject the cover-up and everyone that was complicit in that cover-up. So join us. Thank you. Next up, I'm introducing Diallo Brooks from the People for the American Way, an amazing leader.
Reject the cover-up. Reject the cover-up. Reject the cover-up. So I'm sorry to say, we're out here again, folks.
I know.
We're out here again, folks. My name is Diallo Brooks. I'm with People for the American Way. And what better name, because this is about the people.
That's right.
This fight is about the people. Because we are the ones that actually hold those folks that work in that building behind us accountable. That's our job. They work for us. We don't work for them, they work for us. And we've been taking notes. We've been taking notes when we listened to that State of the Union last night. And all those folks that stood up. We were taking notes because we don't have fear. We're not going to back down. We're not going to be cowards in this fight. That's why we're out here, and that's why it's about all of you. And all of the people that you all represent. All of the folks around the country that are doing rallies just like this one. That's what it's about. It's about the people.
We won't back down. We won't back down.
We won't back down. We won't back down. We won't back down.
We won't back down. We won't back down. We won't back down.
And listen very clearly, folks. We're here because we will always fight to protect democracy. We will always fight to make sure this union works. Because we're not scared. And like I said, we've been taking notes. We've seen who were cowards in that building. We've seen the folks that let Trump dictate to them what was right and wrong. We see the folks that had the courage to stand up and the folks that were hiding behind the curtain, protecting that president. But as we take note, we will be mobilizing all over the country. We will be working hard every single day to make sure we hold those folks accountable. We will not lay down. We will not rest, and we will not be weary. This is our country. The country belongs to the people.
What do we want? Democracy.
What do we want? What do we want? Democracy. What do we want it? What do we want? What do we want it now? And we will do everything in our power to fight for it. We will stand out here. We don't care if it rains. We don't care if it snows. We don't care if it's 100 degrees outside. We will elevate our voices. We will come together. We will come together as a community, as a unified people to protect what's right. Hey, this was a cover-up. We know it. It started from the beginning. They put their hands and swore to protect the Constitution, but they didn't do that job. And when people don't do their job, they gotta go. When people don't do their job, they gotta go. And there's a bunch of folks that work in that building behind us that gotta go. There's a guy that's out there on 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue that's gotta go. And we will do everything in our power. We will unite every single day. We will come together in coalition as beautiful people fighting for what's right. We aren't scared, friends. We aren't scared, and we ain't going away. Thank y'all. And next up, we have the team.
I am so excited to introduce our next speaker. Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
All right, y'all, you're going to want to hear about our next speaker. We have Representative Ayanna Pressley, Massachusetts. One of the hard-charging first-term members of this Congress. She sits on oversight and reform, among other committees, and is known for her firm questions and ability to get direct answers from sometimes uncooperative witnesses. Please welcome Congresswoman Pressley.
I appreciate your reading a little bit of my bio, but all you need to know about me is that I'm your sister in solidarity. The most important thing. You know, Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. We have known exactly who Donald J. Trump is for a very long time.
He's a coward. He's a traitor to our country.
Donald J. Trump, he has been consistent, driven by ego, and can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right, let me make sure now. As I was saying, the incredible poet and social justice warrior Maya Angelou once said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. We have known exactly who Donald J. Trump is for a long, long time. He has been consistent, driven by ego and profit, void of humanity and compassion, committing crimes and cover-ups in broad daylight. No strategy, no empathy, no moral compass. However, to be disappointed in a man, you must first be surprised. And Donald J. Trump's reckless behavior comes as no surprise. So today, I won't waste any more words on him. Instead, I will focus my ire on the Senate Republicans who have failed our democracy and the American people. Shame on you, Mitch McConnell. Shame on you, Senate Republicans. You stand firmly on the wrong side of history. You have chosen the side of a bigot over the destiny of our immigrant neighbors. You have chosen the side of a reckless dictator over the safety of our troops. You have chosen the side of a narcissist over the will of the American people. And we will not forget this betrayal. In this democracy, you are still accountable to the people. And the people are furious. However, we will channel and focus our righteous rage on the pursuit of justice. Today is a sad day. It is a devastating day. But we will recover. We will rebuild. The Democratic House majority will use every tool of congressional oversight. I want you to know, as I summon the spirit of my forever chairman, Elijah Cummings, everything, who challenged us to be an efficient and effective pursuit of the truth. Our job is not done, and we will continue to hold this administration accountable. We will not back down. We will remind Donald J. President Trump and the Senate Republicans that we see right through them, and so do the American people. And I know that folks are tired. No, we're not. Well, I'm just going to tell you, even if you are, that we don't have the luxury of stopping. And we don't have the luxury of allowing cynicism or complacency to take home or make root in our bones or our hearts, because people are depending upon us. And so we will continue to organize and to mobilize, and we will remain in partnership with one another and the people most impacted by the draconian, oppressive, xenophobic, and racist policies of this administration. And we will continue to underscore that our destinies and our freedoms are tied. The story of America is a story of the marginalized and oppressed, standing up and fighting back against abuses of power. Time and time again, we have done this. And today, our resolve is only strengthened. Our work continues because we, the people, are powerful. Resist!
Thank you so much, and resist, and we are. We got this, we got this. It is hard to follow. So thank you all. We are going to continue with our lineup. Up next with us are two great organizers in this movement, Anthony Torres and Alexandria Flores Quality. They are by the people. And I apologize here. Alexandria Flores is the executive director of By the People, and Anthony Torres is the political director of By the People. As I said, these two have been organizing the grassroots movement for impeachment and removal of the president for the past year. Please join me in welcoming them. Thank you.
Today, by voting to cover up Trump's crimes, the Senate has declared that our Constitution does not apply to the powerful few. Today, the Senate granted this lawless president unrestricted power. Those senators who voted to acquit have exposed themselves as traitors to American democracy. They have consented to further abuses of power by Trump at our expense. This is a crisis of democracy. And I know I'm scared. I'm standing up here worried about what comes next. But I'm hopeful, and I'm hopeful because of what we have been able to accomplish together, of what this movement has done over the last year and a half. We built an American majority across race, gender, class, generation, political party, and geography to support the impeachment and removal of this dangerous president. We are the majority. Through sustained public pressure and hundreds of mobilizations, we the people impeached him. And despite the results of this sham trial, we the people still have the power. We still have the power to remove Trump and every one of his cronies. Our movement made it necessary for the House to act, and we forced the Senate to try Trump for his crimes. And despite being told that impeachment was politically infeasible, we, this movement, we made it inevitable. This institution failed us today. Those 52 senators betrayed you. They endangered you. And so we, the people, must take responsibility for our safety, for our liberty, and for our country's future. The day we stop fighting for our democracy is the day that we lose it. And so every American right now must make a choice. Will you fight for democracy, or will you submit to dictatorship?
Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Today, we asked every single senator to choose democracy or protect Trump, to choose the American people or Trump, to choose to comply with the Constitution or to be complicit with Trump's crimes. And they chose. I am outraged to say that 52 chose to protect Trump and betray the American people. We know these truths to be self-evident. Trump is guilty. Trump is guilty. Trump is guilty. Trump is guilty. And removing him from office is the only way to protect ourselves and our country and our loved ones from his abuses of power. And it will allow us to move closer to making our country's revolutionary promise of liberty and justice for all finally a reality. This fight has never been about Democrats or Republicans versus Republicans. From day one, we called on every single member of Congress to put their political calculations aside and do what was right. And as Anthony said, we didn't always have everyone, did we? It took time. It took a movement. It took us, the American people. And Trump was impeached by the people. When we talk about accountability, our Constitution says what accountability is in a case like this. It's impeachment and removal. So where do we go from here? Every day and every battle ahead is one to stop authoritarianism, to stop the evils of the Trump administration, and to achieve a democracy that serves and respects all of us. We will rise alongside those elected representatives like Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, like Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib, Congressman Al Green, and Senator Merkley, who early on were brave and said what was right and what was wrong and said that impeaching Trump and removing him from office was the right thing to do. We will sustain our resistance to the abuses and atrocities of the Trump administration. We will continue to resist what we cannot tolerate. We will be vigilant in securing free and fair elections. We will combat rising white nationalism and fascism. And we will sound the alarm as Trump strives to extend his authority. Just as past Americans came together to defeat kings and Jim Crow, we will unite to make this country what it should be, a government of, by, and for the people. Trump will be removed by the people. When I say Trump will be removed, you say by the people. Trump will be removed by the people. Trump will be removed by the people. Trump will be removed by the people. Thank you. Out now!
Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce Tay Phoenix and wonderful set of musicians that have been performing and protesting at the Capitol since January 6th.
I want to introduce my friends, Dragon and David from Resistance Company. Please sing along if you know it.
Say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave with what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. I want to see you. I want to see you. Ooh, I want to see you. You can be amazing. You can turn a phrase into a weapon. You can be the outcast to be the backlash of somebody's life. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's gonna hurt you the way the words do when they settle neath your skin. Kept on the inside, no sunlight, sometimes a shadow wins. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave with what you wanna say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I wanna see you be brave. I wanna see you. I wanna see you. Everybody's been there. Everybody's been stared down by, falling for the fear and want to disappear and bow down to the mighty. Don't run. Stop holding your tongue. Maybe there's a way out of the cage where we live. Maybe one of these days we can let them out in. So show me how big your brave is and say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave with what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you. And since their history of silence won't do us any good, did we think it would? Let your words be anything but empty. Why don't you tell them the truth, Lord? Say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave with what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. I want to see you. I want to see you. Ooh, I want to see you. I want to see you. Say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave.
Thank you. The building right behind us there is Russell. That's the Senate office building. I was arrested doing that in there a couple weeks ago with my friends from Sworn to Senate. I love you. I love you. This movement is so incredible. And the people that had my back in there, that was Remove Trump, that was Sworn to Senate. I love my Remove Trump, my Sworn to Senate teammates. I love you all. We are going to get rid of this guy and everyone who is enabling him. Thank you.
All right, you haven't heard the last of Tay Phoenix. She will be back. So, we got a lot of folks who helped put this event together. I want to make sure to thank those folks, and then we're going to hear from some more incredible speakers as well as musicians. Want to thank Action Group Network, Bend the Arc Jewish Action, By the People, Center for Popular Democracy Action, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington, Coalition to Preserve, Protect, and Defend, Common Cause, Daily Coast, Defend American Democracy, and Protect the Investigation, Demcast USA,
Democracy 21, Democracy for America, Faithful America, Free Speech for People, Georgia Alliance for Social Justice, Greenpeace USA, March for Truth, Me to Impeach, Next Gen America, OWS Special Projects, Peace Pentagon, People for the American Way, Progressive Democrats of America, Sierra Club, SOS America Now, Stand Up Republic, USA Unify, Women's March, and Public Citizen. And it's my pleasure to introduce the president of Public Citizen, Robert Weissman.
So, this is a day to be sad, and it's more importantly a day to be angry. It's a day that leads me to have some questions, so I wanted to ask you all a few questions and see if you could help me out with some things. I looked up in the dictionary, which only exists online now, the word exonerated. I wanted to know what exonerated meant. It means to absolve someone from blame for a fault or wrongdoing, especially after due consideration of the case. So I wanted to know, do you think we've had due consideration of the case? I'm sorry, did you say no, or did you say no, hell no? Do we have witnesses heard in this case? Do we have evidence and documents presented in this case? Do we have a Senate that was seeking the truth in this case? Did the senators even find him not to have committed the things he was charged with? Here's some more important questions. Those were important. These are more important. Do we, in response, do we allow ourselves to be depressed?
No! No!
No or hell no? Hell no! Do we allow ourselves to become hopeless? Hell no! Do we get disengaged? Hell no! Do we give up? Hell no! Do we go home? Hell no! Do we hide under the covers? Hell no! We keep fighting! Okay. You had a good rhythm. You had a good rhythm. You had a good rhythm, but it's going to change up here. So get ready. Was there a cover-up? Yes! Yes or hell yes? Was there a cover-up? Was there a cover-up? Are we going to stand up and fight? Are we going to take to the streets? Are we going to hold this president accountable? Are we going to hold this Senate accountable? That's a good one. We're going to drive them out? Now, let me ask you, we're going to the next level. All right? Is this problem that we face in our democracy and in defending the rule of law a question only about Donald Trump? No! Hell no! Is it only about the cowardly 52 senators who refused to follow the evidence and the obvious truth? No! Or do we have a deeper problem with our democracy? Do we have a problem of big money dominating our democracy? Do we have a problem of the super rich calling the tune in the Capitol? Are we going to let that continue? Are we going to demand that our elections be funded by we the people, not the super rich? Are we going to demand that Citizens United be overturned by a constitutional amendment? Are we going to demand a constitutional amendment to restore our democracy? Does this Capitol belong to the super rich? Does it belong to Donald Trump? Does it belong to Mitch McConnell? Does it belong to we the people? Does it belong to we the people? Does this country belong to we the people? Here's the thing. Here's the thing. We had a bad result. We had a bad result. But we only got to this point because of the work that we've been doing since the day this man was elected and took office. There's one good thing that has happened from Donald Trump being elected President of the United States. Yeah, there is one good thing that happened from Donald Trump. From taking office. That thing was the rise of a resistance movement. Of a movement that comes together not just to oppose Donald Trump, not just to stop incipient fascism, not just to fight against racism, but to bring forward a true flourishing of our democracy so that we do the things this country needs to do that we must do. We've all made that happen. There was one thing that set that off more than anything else, because you remember how sick we felt the day of the election. Remember how sick we felt the day of the inauguration. There was one thing that turned it all around. Millions of people, millions of women took to the street for the Women's March and said, we are not going to lie down for Donald Trump. We are going to fight, and we are going to fight every day until he is out of office, until we have the country we're supposed to have. And so, in honor of that crucial moment of resistance, it is now my honor to introduce the next speaker, Rachel Carmona of the Women's March.
First of all, shout out to every single person who's in the audience right now creating some good trouble. Because you know that's the secret, and you know that's how we got here in this moment. It's people like us and people like who are all across the country at rallies just like this one today, who have been working for the last year and a half to bring us to this moment right now. For us, Women's March would not be in this fight except for the vision of By the People. Shout out to By the People. And the people who really brought this home in the last month, people who relocated their lives and came here to occupy Hart Senate, was the Remove Trump Coalition and swarm the Senate. And what's so beautiful about that is that Remove Trump is a coalition led by very seasoned activists. So we got our start down this road by the youth. And it took the kind of seasoned marathon activism that we know we have in our ranks and in our movement to bring us home. And at the beginning, it was confusing. It was like people were all here. They're like, some people were like, I want him impeached because of emoluments. And some people were like, I want him impeached because he's out here grabbing people by the pussy. And some people were like, I want him impeached because of Ukraine. And some people were like, listen, all of the above. And in the end, what really mattered was that we all thought that Trump is guilty. Trump is? Guilty. Trump is? Guilty. Trump is? Guilty. So it doesn't matter if you are here for one of those reasons. It doesn't matter if you're here for all of those reasons. It doesn't matter if you got on a train to come here. It doesn't matter if you live here. It doesn't matter if you're rich or if you're poor, because this is a country for all of us. And if it doesn't work for all of us, then they're going to hear from all of us.
Stand up, fight back! What are we going to do?
Stand up, fight back!
What are we going to do? Stand up, fight back! What are we going to do? Stand up, fight back!
So the good thing is that we have history on our side. Because history has shown us that whenever a jumped up, ambitious, wannabe dictator shows up, that the thing that happens is that the people, united, will never be defeated. We know that power concedes nothing without a demand. We know this. And what we have to do is every day from now until November, because y'all are right, November's too late. Every day between now and then, we have to remind people that they are public servants. And who do they serve? That's right. So we can feel good tonight knowing that Trump, in his besmirched history of being a president and the occupier of the White House, will always have an asterisk next to it. He will always be impeached. That will be next to his name forever. Impeached. And when he took office, do you remember those days? We didn't know if he would ever be held accountable. And you know why he is? It's not because someone decided to do their job, because we know we've had to vote people out. It's because the people worked every single day, from the day that he got elected to today, to right now, to make sure that he was held accountable and to make sure that the Senate and the House did their jobs to make sure that that happened. So shout out again to every single one of you and all the people that you know, because look around. There's no cavalry coming. We're it, y'all. We're it. We're all we have. And
by the people.
By the people, for the people.
Goodbye, Trump. By the people, for the people.
Goodbye, Trump.
By the people, for the people. Goodbye, Trump. By the people, for the people. Goodbye, Trump. By the people, for the people. Goodbye, Trump. By the people.
We made this possible. We built this. And that's the thing, is that the power's in our hands. It's a little bit like Oz. You could click your heels. The power's been with us the whole time. So if we were out here like this the whole time, imagine what we could have done with Kavanaugh, with impeachment, with any of the fights that we fought. And so that's the thing, y'all, is that we all have to be here all the time. We can't stop and be like, oh, well, I don't feel like it this time, whatever. People turned out for Kavanaugh. People turned out for impeachment. And that's what we have to do, is keep turning out, keep showing up. And history is on our side.
We won't back down. 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 We won't back down.
2 weeks ago, we had our third annual 4th Women's March. Over the last 5 to 6 weeks, there have been 5 other mobilizations the size of Women's March, which until then previously had held the national record. Which means that this is bigger than us. It's bigger than any organization. It's bigger than any movement. It's bigger than all of us. And we all have a duty in this moment, at this history in our time, when we're trying to decide as a people, who are we? Where are we going? Where does this road lead? Where do our souls? What is the soul of the American people? That means that every single day, in days like this, we always have to turn out. On our Facebook page the day before, I'm always a little nervous, y'all, because I'm from Wisconsin, so cold to me isn't cold to everyone else. And on our Facebook page the day before, I was like, I don't know, I think we should warn them because it's going to be hella cold and it's going to snow, you know? So I had them put all these things out. And someone said, oh my God, what happens if it snows? And my favorite comment, and the thing that I'll leave you with tonight, is, the next comment right after that is, if it's cold and if it snows, we protest anyway.
From Stand Up Republic. It's so great to be out here with you tonight, despite the circumstances. Can you hear me now? Okay. All right. You know, we're not gathered here tonight, friends, as Democrats, as Republicans, or as independents. We're here tonight as Americans. As Americans who understand that freedom is the natural condition of our humanity. Americans who understand that we are equal to each other and to those who occupy these halls of power. Americans who know that truth exists
and that it must always guide our way. Tonight our nation is at great risk, and that's why we're out here tonight.
Yes.
Too many of our Republican leaders have turned away from these truths in favor of their own self-interest. They know their time is up. They know that they no longer represent the people. And they're willing to do whatever it takes to hold on to the power that they have, even if it means destroying the republic. Like the president, they're trying to claim permanent power that belongs to us, and only us. They believe that they possess some kind of divine right and prerogative for the nation. So they seek to deceive and divide us, so that we, the people, are unable or unwilling to hold them accountable and to stand for our own freedom. For weeks we've watched as too many Senate Republicans have openly worked to cover up the president's dangerous abuses of power. First, they denied that it happened. Then they complained about the process. Eventually, they admitted that it happened and agreed that it was bad, but still excused it anyway. They silenced witnesses, withheld evidence, and blocked the American people from learning more about the truth. They're complicit in this president's cover-up. Plain and simple.
That's right.
Worse, they've enabled this lawless president who yearns to be a dictator, putting the liberty of every single American in this country at risk. Senate Republicans, with the exception of Mitt Romney, thank you, Mitt, have told the president that it's okay to seek foreign interference.
No, it's not.
It's okay, they've told the president, that he abused his power. It's okay that they all cover it up. And so that's what he's going to do. They've opened the door to a Pandora's box of dangerous corruption in an election year, and they're just fine with that. Just fine with putting the integrity of our elections at risk. Just fine with subordinating America to foreign powers, and just fine with abandoning the Constitution.
No.
But we're not fine with it. My friends, my friends, in the weeks and months ahead, the president is going to escalate his attacks on our democracy, aided by his foreign backers. It's going to get harder. They're going to try to undermine our election once again in his favor. We will feel the darkness and discouragement, but we must not indulge these feelings, and we must not enter a state of mass indifference. That is what they want.
That's right.
No, we must remember that the more he and his backers do to violate our Constitution and place themselves above the law and above we the people, the more fragile they become. So we must remain hopeful and continue the fight. We must work even harder to build unity despite our differences. We will find new ways to mobilize even more patriotic Americans to the cause. We will fight lies with truth, corruption with sunlight, and division with understanding. We will replace Donald Trump in 2020. Thank you.
With our 3.8 million members who stand for fairness, who stand for democracy, who stand for justice, and we're calling for President Trump to be impeached and removed. The Senate has failed us. We have seen from the beginning
what this president is about. He is racist. He is a misogynist. He is hateful. He is violent, and he is a criminal. Since the beginning, we have seen that, and that is why millions of people have been marching in the streets for reproductive justice, to keep a sexual predator off the Supreme Court. We've been marching for climate action. We've been marching to keep families together, to not have children in cages. We've been marching for our democracy. And each and every time that we, the people, have made our voice heard, the Senate Republicans have failed us. And they failed us today. Shame on them. Shame on them. Shame on them. Shame on them. What we saw today was exactly what we would expect. We saw hateful, cowardly, corrupt cover-ups. The president should be removed. He should not be in office moving forward. It's going to take our power, our people power, to remove him. The trial was a sham. The trial was a cover-up. There was no trial. There was no witnesses. There was no new evidence. It was a cover-up. Today is a really sad day. The Sierra Club office is just down there. We were all standing around watching the votes, and it was really, really upsetting, frankly. But it's not the end. We are millions of people strong. We are the popular vote. We are not stopping. Onwards and upwards. This is not the end. This is the time to dig in, get smarter, fight harder. In 2020, we will remove Donald Trump.
Thank you, Mara. Welcome back to Tay Phoenix. Let's hear it for Tay Phoenix.
It's hard to keep a guitar in tune and weather this cold, so bear with me while I tune up. I want to talk to you for a moment about what this song means to me. This is my faith, being here with you all. People go to church or synagogue. I protest. I'm Jewish, and we say pray with our feet, and so that's what this is about for me. And so this song is about the faith that I have in us and what we can do together. And I'm tuning. Trying to pay attention and talk at the same time is sometimes difficult. But I want you all to know how much I appreciate you all being out here tonight.
We appreciate you.
We are in this together.
And I'm going to get a capo. Hang on. We the people. 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 We the people.
Don't worry, mother, it'll be alright. Don't worry, sister, say your prayers and sleep tight. It'll be fine, lover of mine. It'll be just fine if we lend our voices only to sounds of freedom. No longer lend our strength to that which we wish to be free from. Fill our lives with love and bravery, and we shall lead a life uncommon. I've heard your anguish, I've heard your hearts cry out. We are tired, we are weary, but we aren't worn out. Set down your chains till only faith remains. Set down your chains and lend your voices only to sounds of freedom. let your words enslave no one, and the heavens will hush themselves to hear our voices ring out clear with sounds of freedom, with sounds of freedom. Come all you unbelievers, move out of the way, especially you back there in Congress. There is a new army coming, and we are armed with faith to live. We must give to live. And our voices only the sounds of freedom, and no longer lend our strength to that which we wish to be free from. Fill our lives with love and bravery, and we shall lead a life uncommon. Thank you.
You guys are gonna switch to battery real quick.
Tay.
Stand by.
Whoops.
Stand by. And switch to battery.
The cover-up. We reject the cover-up. We reject the cover-up. But we also demand accountability for Donald Trump and this GOP crew who have made this happen. We are going to work every day on that accountability. We are not forgetting. We're not going anywhere. We are also working for our democracy and for democracy reform. We are going to protect and secure our vote. We are going to restore the rule of law for everyone, including the President of the United States. We are going to demand structural reforms to end corruption. Abuse of power, end it. That allowed some of Trump's criminal behavior in the first place. And tomorrow we are going to be back on the Capitol Hill in Rayburn at 10 a.m. for a hearing on a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United. I hope to see you there, Rayburn 2141, 10 a.m. First hearing in the House of Representatives on the Democracy for All Amendment. So please join us there. There were flyers for that. This was part of over 280 protests today in over 46 states. We are resounding.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like. So thank you all for coming. We have one more speaker. Refuse fascism. They had a rally starting at 4, so y'all have been out here a long time. And they marched over here to join us, so I want to make sure that they have a minute to share. And then we are going to close this thing out. Just a couple more minutes, y'all.
Encore.
So Sarah Taylor.
All right, sisters and brothers, can you hear me okay? We are in a very dangerous time in the history of this country and even more in the history of the world. There are moments in history where the future depends on what we do, and we are living through one such time. A fascist regime. The Trump-Pence regime is a fascist regime. They are in the halls of power and the only superpower on this planet. And they are guilty. No matter what was said today in Congress, they are guilty. In the Senate, they are guilty. They are guilty. This is important, not just of abuse of power, not just of obstruction of Congress, though they are guilty of those crimes, and those are serious crimes.
they are also guilty of bringing fascism to America. I'm talking about white supremacy unleashed, marching and murdering in Charlottesville and recently in Richmond, Virginia on MLK Day. I'm talking about asylum seekers put in concentration camps and children torn from their parents' arms. I'm talking about 6 more countries banned in the last week under Trump's travel ban. We all know Donald Trump's Make America Great has always been Make America White again. I'm talking about Christian fascists being appointed into the judges of this country at the Supreme Court right here, gunning for women's reproductive rights, to abortion and birth control, for LGBTQ rights, to enslave women. I'm talking about shredding environmental protections and endangering the future of humanity, and war crimes and threats of nuclear war. Fascism is a program that is a catastrophe for humanity, but fascism is more than that. Fascism is a qualitative change in the form of rule that shuts down any space for people to challenge it. From the streets, it's the criminalization of protest. From the courts, it's the remaking of the courts and the elevating, as we saw today, Donald Trump, the executive, above the rule of law. And it is the shutting down of any opposition, even within the halls of power. This is what Donald Trump means when he says lock her up about his opponents. This is what he means when he says Adam Schiff has yet to pay the price for what he did. He is threatening extra-legal violence. He's inciting this, and he knows it. So the lesson of history with fascism is there is a moment at which it becomes too late to stop. They change the form of rule and shut down the space for opposition. We are not yet at that place, but we are dangerously close, and this took a leap today. So the lesson of history is you have to stop fascism before it becomes too late. And you also have to go outside the channels of politics as usual. When Donald Trump is saying he won't be bound by the rule of law, and he's being given backing for that. When he is saying openly that he might not respect the next election. When he is caught red-handed rigging that election. You cannot rely on those normal channels to stop him. Let's be honest, sisters and brothers, it's an unpopular truth, but it's one we have to confront. You cannot rely on the elections in 2020 to stop this fascist regime. We have to do it from below in the streets ourselves. This is the mission. This is the mission of RefuseFascism.org, and we call on everybody from diverse political perspectives to join with us in this mission. Mass, non-violent, sustained political protest that we've seen. The kind of protest that drove out the governor of Puerto Rico last year. The kind of protest we see people waging in Hong Kong or Lebanon or Chile or Sudan or all around the world, where people have driven out hated regimes. This is our obligation to the people of the world. In Refuse Fascism, we say, in the name of humanity, we refuse to accept a fascist America. Trump, Pence, out now. So I want to say just one more thing before we close out together, which is RefuseFascism.org unites people and invites people in from radically different perspectives. Whether you're for Bernie or Klobuchar or any of them, or whether you're like me and you're not for any of them, we have to come together to drive this out, because none of our futures is possible under a fascist America. But speaking for myself, I am a follower of Bob Avakian, the most radical revolutionary on this planet, who has told the truth that America was never great. We cannot rely on the institutions of this country, and we have to get organized to overthrow this system. A better world is possible. I'm almost done. A radically different world is possible. We need to get organized for a revolution. I invite you to lift your sights to that as we work together and stand shoulder to shoulder to drive this regime from power through mass nonviolent political protest. So I want to close out with a demand that can unite us all. Trump, Pence, out now! 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 Right now! Right now!
Don't stop fighting! See you tomorrow! Thank you!
You want to get connected to
This is a Sanskrit mantra of compassion.
come to talk to some of our new volunteers. Sarah and other people, Charlie, where's he at? Starting to refuse national network in the DC area. Let's stand together. This is not a time to be demoralized. To go out there. To wait for the
Never thought I'd feel nostalgia for Watergate hearings. That's good.